Alright, here for round 2 after getting crushed round 1 by Shardless Sultai, and our hand is looking pretty good. This is one of those hands where if my opponent's a combo deck, I probably can't win, so just kind of have to hope for the best. Mountain. Basic Mountain. Goblin Guide. Okay, I haven't played against this yet either, so we'll see how this goes. Spell Pierce. Whether I bolt the Goblin Guide or play a thing of my own is kind of up for debate, but I think it's just Lightning Bolt his thing. I'm also probably going to be fetching a basic island with this Flooded Strand. I'm not sure how many Price of Progresses burn decks play main deck nowadays, but... so Eidolon is a big deal. I'm just going to bolt the Goblin Guide. Take less damage. I get fewer shots at hitting a land, but there aren't many lands in my deck, period. And well, I would have hit a land, but also I just don't want to take 2 damage. I think that's more relevant. It's like the chance of me drawing a land versus him getting a free shock, and I think free shock is a pretty big deal. So I'm just going to go ahead and bolt this Eidolon too, get this out of here. And then play a Delvor, I think. Maybe not. Thinking about like Searing Blood / Searing Blaze and how that would be a pretty big deal. And I do have this Spell Pierce, so it's possible I could just play Volcanic or fetch a Volcanic and play Swift Spear. I don't really mind if that gets Searing Blooded, but like if I'm gonna play around anything getting Searing Blooded, I might as well, right? So yeah, I'm gonna try and do that. And I say Searing Blood, but I mean Searing Blaze. Okay, so we have another Delver, another Burn spell, and a Fire Blast to maybe steal a turn from my opponent. And that would be pretty nice. I draw the Chain Lightning first because I'm kind of scared of him having a thing. So he shows Volcanic Island, which indicates to me that he probably has Treasure Cruise in his deck. I'm not sure if there's any other blue card that's worth splashing for, unless he just wants to play like Ponder and Brainstorm, but if that is the case, then you should probably be playing Treasure Cruise too. So I'm gonna run a couple Delvers out here. If he decides to Searing Blaze one of them, I'll probably shuffle away this Fire Blast. I don't really mind too much. And he just does nothing on his turn 3, which is certainly a good sign for me. But now it looks like he's just like slow playing the Searing Blaze. Yeah, playing around Spell Pierce. Good play, good play. And has a Goblin Guide. So he's going to see my Fire Blast. I'm going to take this hit. And then I'm going to play Swift Sphere and Chain Lightning his Goblin Guide. And hope that my clock plus maybe my Spell Pierce will be enough to get the job done. I'm not super confident, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So his board is currently clear. Assuming nothing weird happens, I'm going to get Spell Pierce out of the burn deck or whatever, and I get to attack him for 5. So down to 15, and we'll see what happens, I suppose. 9 life is not a lot against the burn deck. Although now, Fire Blast gives me Price of Progress protection, which is kind of nice. With him having a bunch of Volcanics, I'm not sure if he actually has Price in his main deck or not, but it'd be interesting to find out. So he's not going to do anything. I draw another Swift Spear. So that's reasonable. And I think since I have 2 of them, it might be time to actually just Fire Blast him. I'm not sure though. 3, 4, 5. So yeah, I guess Fire Blasting him now doesn't really make any sense. I could draw a Bolt and have it still be relevant. If I draw a cruise, I want the lands in play, but it's kind of unfortunate, you know, thinking about giving up this extra damage. But I guess next turn I can pierce my Fire Blast and pay for it. So he'd be at 10, and that would be lethal. So yeah, we're going to save that for when we can actually just pierce also. And he is going to price. So that actually works out pretty well for me. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I guess I didn't need the actual pierce prowess. So yeah, I should have just Fire Blasted him in combat. But this kind of helps. Because I guess, is he going to Fire Blast me too? What's going on here? Yeah, I was gonna say it helps if he doesn't have his own Fire Blast, because then he just takes the damage off the price. But yeah, so he's gonna Fire Blast me. Oh, and he keeps a Volcanic. Interesting. Very interesting. All right, so take your 2. You're 4. You have 2 lands. I have a Spell Pierce. That seems good for me. I think I actually win this game then. Could I guess, yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's any combination of cards you can have that wins. If he just sacked his 2 Volks and was at 6, then because of my mistake, then maybe he could have won. Because he'd be at 6, and I would have to draw a spell to actually kill him. That would give him another draw step to maybe draw something. Yeah, but since I'm at 5, there's nothing he can really do. Well, he can he can bolt my Delver, I guess. Maybe I shouldn't have pierced that spike. That was probably pretty bad, huh? But draw a probe, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, I guess like him at 5, it doesn't change anything, because he still can't draw a card to kill me. So yeah, I'm fine piercing there. All right, so for cards, I like Red Elemental Blast. That seems quite good. And Pyroblast. Pyroblast might be good actually if he's got the old cruise going on, and that's what it seems like. I'm not sure how many Pyros I want. 1 seems reasonable. I could see 2, but then what do I cut? I kind of want all my cards. I guess cruise is probably not great for me, considering I don't expect the games to go long. See, I could see wanting 2 Pyros and cut 2 cruises. That might be fine. Let's do that. That might be a little too many, but yeah, it's fine. That'll be fine. Alright, so opening hand is no good. He kept 7. This one is reasonable, but don't have red and don't have a clock. Those 2 things are very concerning. He just starts with a spike, though, so I'm cool with that. If it was Goblin Guide, I would probably force it and then untap with Blue Blast and be able to counter an Eidolon. The Lava Spike I'm fine with. And I think this might be a cruise game for him if he doesn't have a permanent source of pressure. Now I'm debating whether or not to fire off this Brainstorm, and I don't think I'm going to. Now, since I drew a thing, I will try and Brainstorm into a land, which we do. That's great. But all of our cards are reasonable, so what do we put back? I think I don't need this 3rd land, so I'm fine shipping that one. And then I could see shipping a bolt because he doesn't have any creatures, but I might need those to deal him damage as well. I'm not sure if this Daze is ever going to do anything. So those are the two considerations. I guess Daze pitches to Force, so that makes it worth it. So yeah, we'll get rid of one of these bolts. And fetch up Volcanic, play Swift Spear, get in for some damage. By some damage, I mean exactly 1 point of damage. Hiya. Interesting that he doesn't crack his fetch end of my turn. Maybe only has 2 land. I'm not sure if that would be a good thing or a bad thing. Seems like probably a bad thing. A bunch of spells. Okay, so our Daze is live. We get to cast that. That's good. I think we're in a reasonable spot, especially since we drew Delver. Delver is going to help. Just got to put a clock on them. Have to actually race them. Don't really have ways to gain life in my deck at all. So, only thing I can do is attack. And use counter spells to try and stop the things that are killing my creatures or killing me. So does have the Volcanic. That's interesting. Like, since they fetched a basic mountain and then played Volcanic, not sure if that was just something that he was holding on to. I feel like you would want to play that even if you're scared of something like Wasteland. Because, like, you would want to... Oh, okay. I see what it is. You want to hold the land because they had another Searing Blaze. But I guess, like, you could just play the Volcanic Searing Blaze, and then you have the fetch land for next turn, and that can help you play around Daze, too. But obviously going to Blue Blast this. If it gets Pyroed, that would kind of stink. Like, not a whole lot I can do in that spot, though. Blue Blast coming in for the clutch. And then it might be a Treasure Cruise next turn, which I can Pyroblast. So, if this Delver flips, would absolutely love my situation, and it does flip with a Fire Blast. So, a ways off of casting that still. Would have liked a blue card for Force of Will, but I'm not complaining. Delver flipping was priority number 1. That was the thing I needed the most. So now life totals are tied. We'll see what happens. I hope it is just a Treasure Cruise game plan that I can Pyroblast. So Chain Lightning my Delver. I can't do anything about that. I can't even redirect it. So that is unfortunate. And does not cast a Treasure Cruise. So not sure if he has it at this point. Probe is cool. I could look at what's going on, but I think it might be more valuable to hold it for Force. And if he's in the mindset of like killing my creatures with things like Chain Lightning, then that certainly helps me too. So this is a Treasure Cruise. I'm going to Pyro this. Definitely glad I brought these in. How do you bring in Pyroblast against the burn deck? Legacy is crazy. Pyroblast is so good. And Chain Lightning, that looks like it's going upstairs. So, not scared of the Swift Spear clock, apparently. And that is cool. That is certainly going to resolve. I draw mountains. Now I have Fire Blast open. So I can deal 11? So I can deal 11 right now. So if I draw a blue spell, like a Brainstorm or a Ponder, I can kill him. So I think it's worth cashing in this Probe. Searing Blaze, Lightning Bolt. I draw a Young Pyromancer, so cannot kill him this turn, but I can play out the Pyromancer and get in for 2, maybe more, but then I lose Lightning Bolt mana. So if I Fire Blast now, that's 7 damage and I get an Elemental, putting him to 5. You can go like Searing Blaze Bolt. I'm left with an Elemental, so yeah, I just want to hold on to my lands here for the moment. Maybe firing off that probe was a little bit greedy, but I had my opportunity and I wanted to take it. So no land drop, but does Searing Blaze the Pyromancer. So I fall to 9. So that means drew a spell to go with the Lightning Bolts. And presumably he could just clear my board here. And that's what he's doing. Figures that I'm going to win the race. So we did draw another mountain, so if we Fire Blasted, things would have been okay. We'll be able to be getting in there with our Elemental, but it's alright. There's an Eidolon. Can't force it, could bolt it for the cost of 2 damage. I think I'm just going to take 1 draw step, see if I can draw another bolt. I don't, I draw a Pyromancer. But I'm going to play this bolt first so I don't have to take 4 damage to kill this thing. And now, if he uses a removal spell on the Pyromancer, I'll probably Fire Blast him. Yeah, so there's the Lightning Bolt. And it's time to start chipping away. So it doesn't matter if I yield to that if it's just going to die, so it's kind of silly. It's now 7-6. I have a 1/1 and a Force of Will and a Spell Pierce, so basically a Force of Will. Pierce could very easily be live, but I'm not going to count on it. So 5-7, still pretty tight game. Now I have a Daze, so now I have basically a Pierce and a Force of Will. Attack you down to 4. Just passes the turn, okay. Attack you down to 3, hopefully. And I'm not going to play my land. I don't expect Price of Progress to be in after board, but it certainly could be. Okay, draw another Spell Pierce. Attack you down to 2, maybe. So 7-2, 4 cards in hand. Not sure how this is going to go. Just passing the turn again. So let me draw a bolt and finish this. Or a Swift Spear. Pyroblast. Alright, so we have a Pyro, so that means I'm going to want to play my 3rd land to protect against any treasure cruises. Attack him down to 1, which would be very helpful to shut off this fetch land, turn on our soft counters. And if turn Lightning Bolt me, that's fine. Float 2 mana. Fire Blast me. That certainly cannot resolve. So this seems just like something that we automatically Force a Will, and then we use Spell Pierce on his next 2 spells. I could use Pierce and Daze, but I think this is more efficient. Well, hold on. If I go Pierce it and he pays, and then I Daze it. He has 2 cards. He's going to draw a 3rd one. Doesn't get to cast whatever spell he has now with his mana floating, which, you know, granted, might not be anything. So you basically just have to draw an untapped red source and have 2 1-mana things. Because I can pierce one of them. I think I lose in both scenarios that way. Yeah, I'm just going to force it. I don't know if that's right or not. It just doesn't do anything with his mana, so this should be mine. And just cracks his fetch. So, pretty close game, pretty cool. Cruise seemed reasonable, Blast seemed good against his cruises. I think I like 2. Drawing any more than that would have been pretty bad. And other than that, game was pretty good.